Hey everybody, welcome to my Valorant guide for climbing the ranks. Just real quick, Valorant is a 5v5 competitive shooter that is loosely compared to Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This video, however, will be going over 3 tips that will help you climb in your Valorant ranked games and hopefully get you all to rank higher. I know the rank season just started, so this is a great video to watch if you're trying to just start fresh. Before I start, I just want to say that I do stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, link down in the description below. Please check it out. If you want to come by and just ask me some tips on my stream, feel free to do so. I love that stuff. These 3 tips are in no particular order, so I definitely would recommend that you stick until the end of the video to get the maximum benefit. These tips are also for solo queue. I'm just going to preface by saying that. And sometimes you'll just get teammates that will have a bad day, so just focus on improving you. That's definitely something that you want to focus on. You can't control whether your teammates are having a good day or whether they're going to carry you, so you might as well just take control of what you can actually take control of. So let's start with tip number 1, which is pre-aim and crosshair placement. I know I'm going to beat a dead horse here by saying this, but first hear me out. Crosshair placement is super important, and that's why you constantly hear people talking about it. It's important because it allows you to eliminate any error or lag in your shot so that you can cleanly headshot opponents before they can react. Here's something to consider though with your crosshair placement. Are you going to be swinging or holding an angle? People will say crosshair placement is important, but I'm going to go in and explain why. This will obviously depend on the situation, the player, and the agent, but if you're going to be holding an angle, for example, many players will try and swing on you. If they know somebody's holding that angle, they'll definitely try and swing on you. If they still peek you, however, you will get the kill on them anyways, because you'll see their body first. That's just how the game mechanic works. So ideally, you want your crosshair approximately 1 to 2 heads away from where you think they'll peek, increasing the odds of them walking into your crosshair. If you hold your crosshair against the edge and they go and swing on you, you have to accurately flick to head to land the headshot. That's much harder than just having them walking into it. Conversely, if you're the one peeking angle or swinging, you want your crosshair right on where you think they'll be before you swing the angle, so that there is little mouse movement for you to land the headshot. Remember, the quicker you kill them, the less time they have to either return fire or even kill you. So, when you're swinging an angle, right, you want to basically know where you're going to be swinging towards and then have your crosshair already there, even if it's facing the wall, so that when you go ahead and swing, you're going to land the headshot without having to do anything. Now if you go ahead and swing it like this at the edge of it and then you have to flick to it, it's a lot more error involved. Now for holding an angle, that's pretty much just if somebody's going to swing this angle, you don't want to hold this angle tight, because most people won't swing like this, like a half angle, or like even like this. They'll more than likely swing on you like this if they know you're there. So if you think they'll swing like that, as most people do, you want your crosshair like this much or even like this much away. For me, it's about half a crosshair away from the wall that I expect them to come from. That way when they go ahead and peek that angle, it's just a tap on the head. And even if they only slightly peek, you can still flick there. Whereas if you're holding this angle tight and they wide swing on you, that's way more distance you have to cover. So with my next tip, I'll go over how you can abuse players that are good at crosshair placement and pre-aiming different angles. Tip number 2, angles and what to hold. So I'm going to be calling these opping angles and rifling angles. They're exactly what they sound like. An opping angle is an angle that an opper holds, and a rifling angle is an angle that a rifler will hold. And understanding these two will make a huge difference when you go and peek an enemy. Just as a rule of thumb, if you're a player that likes to use rifles over the op, try not to peek an opping angle. You're generally going to lose these 9 times out of 10. It's just not advantageous for you. Now if you want to go ahead and take the fight because you want to play aggressively, that's fine. Just don't be upset if you lose the fight, because they're already holding that angle if they're using an op. So if you want to contest an opper with your own op, however, then try and jump peek the angle so that they miss their first shot. There's this thing that a lot of higher elo players will do if they're using a rifle and they know somebody's going to be hopping an angle, like C Long on Haven. They'll kind of B-hop into a jump and they'll like half peek in and out of an angle. It's kind of hard to explain, but if that's something you want to try, then go for it. you're using a rifle, try and hold these rifle angles, however, to try and catch these people off guard. It catches people off guard because they're generally angles that people can't clear without risking exposure with some part of their body. So some opping angles on Haven would be like C-long, mid-window, and A-long. If you think the enemy's not good at opping, however, you can try and play aggressively and peek them. Try jumping though, so that they can miss their first shot, and hopefully with correct crosshair placement on your part, you can kill them instead. So in this clip, you'll see me holding an off angle in garage. The Sage will peek and pre-aim that corner. So now I want to play aggressively and try and push out and kill their Phoenix. I kill the Phoenix, and since there's not enough time for the Cypher to react, I can kill him too. And just by holding an off angle, I can completely destroy their team and their coordination. Here's an example of an off angle if you're defending on Haven. Most people will hold this angle. It's just a really safe angle. They hold this tight. But when people come into this clear and they clear window, this is their instinct when they go and try and pre-fire this. They'll peek it like this. So if you're holding an angle that's like over here, you can catch them off guard and they'll have to flick all the way over here to try and hit you. Now, the higher elo players, they'll be a lot better at landing those flick shots so they can potentially kill you, but you still have to make them work for it. On a different angle, which would be mid doesn't really have that many different off angles or rifling angles, but this is definitely another one. This one's a lot more predictable, but you just don't want to be an LOS of anybody who's potentially opping these angles right here. And same on A site. Any close angles, any angles that people will not expect you to be holding is pretty much a rifle angle. So, here, people will expect you here if they don't peek it, but this is an opping angle. So you don't want to be an LOS of this angle straight all the way down to there. You want to be in that cubby or even close tight here. So now I'm going to go over my final tip number 3, aggression. Well, I'm going to talk about playing aggressive and how it can be beneficial in your Valorant games. When I say playing aggressive, I don't mean unintelligently pushing the enemy. I mean swinging, taking fights that you normally wouldn't, and taking control of different parts of the map. The more of the map that you control, the less places the enemy can be, making them more predictable. Not only that, but by playing aggressive and either winning or losing, you can evaluate how you won or lost that fight. Doing so and being analytical of yourself is very, very good. This sounds very obvious, but surprisingly many people in some of the lower ranks play very scared and back. Generally, this is fine if you think you're on the same skill level as them, but you don't want to allow the enemy to make the first move. Take control of the map first. Doing so will allow you to hold aggressive angles, catching the enemy off guard. We discussed this in my last tip. I think a player with an aggressive playstyle, coupled with great mechanics and game sense, is a dangerous one. You can definitely rank higher just by playing safe with the correct game sense, but I personally think you can quickly improve your mechanics if you attempt to play this way. I'll release another video on warm-ups and training routines that you can do to improve your mechanics, but if you can hone your mechanics with this playstyle, you'll definitely notice a difference, especially in your ranked games. So just as a quick note, playing aggressive definitely lends itself more to the eco rounds when you're using an SMG or a deagle, or even just like a ghost, or even the shorty. That's not to say that you can't play aggressive with like a rifle or an op. It's definitely still advised, like you still want to take control parts of the map. It's just easier to do so when you're on eco, and you have to use like these close ranged guns unless you're using like the Marshall or something like that. Well, that's all I got for you all today. Those are my 3 tips to help you rank up in Valorant. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button and to support me and the channel, and also hit that sub button to receive updates on when I release new videos. For everybody who stayed until the end of the video, best of luck to you in your ranked games, and thank you so much for watching. I love putting out these videos and helping the community out as best I can. I have some other guides and tips on my channel if that's something you also want to go check out, by the way. I try to cater all these guides to every skill level, and I'll be posting weekly guides and videos henceforth. That's all I got for you today, and hope you all stay safe and positive. See ya.